Okay, welcome to the Dr. Inia Desnia show. I'm very excited to be here, as always. If this is your first time of being on my show or here, um, just wanted to welcome everybody. This is a platform where I share resources, provide resources, and help SMEs do what? To thrive. A lot of times we look at it and say, okay, are we just surviving as a business or are we thriving? And that's the goal of this platform, just to do my best to provide resources. Of course, it's very important for you to seek the help of a professional, um, you know, to make sure that it aligns with what your goals are. Um, this is the platform is for informative and educative purposes only. And of course, if you don't have a professional working with you, you're truly, I can work with you, of course. And very excited to be here. And of course, I'm going to share, or I have another exciting topic. And of course, I have questions that are need to be answered. And so let's get right to it. All right. So I have another interesting topic today. And my topic today is um, 8 myths of small business owners. 8 myths, right? That means that there are some things that you've heard out there as a small business owner, and you're just wondering, I mean, is it true, right? And this is a lot of times you hear this over and over and again. And so I just wanted to bring it out here and just look at, I mean, there are many. I'm sure that there are many. Of course, this list is not exhaustive, so I would say that there are many, but this is what really stood out to me, and I believe that this would make an impact, right? Hopefully, with anybody that has heard this and is thinking of going into a business, or is already there and is struggling with some of these, messages out there, right? So I just want to look at about 8 of them and just hopefully this will clarify some things. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So first of all, the customer is always right. I know we hear this all the time, and I understand where this concept is coming from, right? Of course, I would say that anytime you have a customer that is irate, maybe is angry or something, your goal is to do your best to diffuse the situation, right? You're not going to react negatively to that person. It could be your fault that the customer is reacting in a bad way. It might not even be your fault, but you have to know how to react to that customer. So that I believe that is where this concept comes from. But I want to actually say that sometimes it's not like that, right? If you have a customer that is really unpleasant, right? Mean, unpleasant, right? You know, how is that right? How do you make that right, right? Even sometimes you try to be nice to the customer goes on and on. I mean, and then maybe even as a maybe you're a manager of a place and or you're the owner of a place and the customer treats or talks bad to your staff, right? Or even to you as the owner of the company, you know, I don't believe you should put up with everything. I don't believe you should put up with everything. You don't have to agree to everything. You don't have to. I mean, if somebody doesn't like your product and not is not even nice about it, because I strongly believe in constructive criticism. If I mean, tell me, okay, this, that, we will fix it. That's fine. That's right. We'll fix that product. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's a way you handle it, there's a way you speak, there's a way you act. And so, I mean, I would even zero this into, I know that for people that sell products, right, you want anybody to buy, but sometimes if you're a service provider, right, I strongly feel that, yeah, it's good to be paid, but I just feel that sometimes it's not everybody that you have to work with. I've seen people walk away from even so-called good clients because of some kind of behavior of that client, right? Some people. So, um, first of all, I will say that the customer is always right. I would say in actual effect, if you want to be polite, or the facts, actual facts, polite, that's fine, but that I'm not, it's not, I wouldn't say it's always right all the time. So I would say that it's very important for you to know um what customers you would like to work with, right? So if you're in a business, I would say that the customer is always right is a myth. So that's one of the things I would say. I mean, I get it when, in the other sense of the word, you want to be polite, want to be nice and everything. But if it's too much, if this customer or your client is, you know what, I mean, so many cases that people say no, even in places that grocery stores or places that, I mean, that not even there's small businesses that are, small grocery stores, and there are people sometimes they walk people out. So it's not like, I mean, that one about customer is always right. I would say that no, that's a myth, right? Because I will do my best to make my customers happy. But at the end of the day, there are some people, and everybody, there are some people that anybody or everyone that has a business, some people that you just can't just work with. But I know some people say, but I can work with anybody I work. So I can work, when I say I can work with, I would say not staff wise. I can relate with every or any customer. Well, kudos. Some people can do that, but I guarantee you that there are some customers that are so bad. Maybe the way they speak, the way they act, the way they behave, the way they do their stuff, right? And you don't want to be part of that. So sometimes it doesn't work that way. All right, that's the first myth. The second myth I would say is that you need a lot of money or a lot of capital to begin a business. That is a no, 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 right? Now, but I would have to say, instead of, maybe I would rephrase that no, right? Right? I could say maybe, no, and also maybe, right? And even when you say, because um, it just depends on what business you're doing, right? Now, I know that there are some businesses that are capital intensive, but this is not, this need for huge capital is not a blanket statement, right? There's some, I mean, even, I would even say, I mean, when we talk about huge capital investment, let me even, I know I've used this example a couple of times when it comes, I mean, this industry example, you know, yeah, we're off the holiday season, but, we love beautiful cakes and cookies and all those good stuff, right? Let's use that as an example. A lot of people need equipments to bake, right? They might say that they need, maybe somebody is so good and is getting a lot of orders. I mean, you don't even have to buy such equipment. I know that there are commercial kitchens that you can actually rent. So no, you don't need huge capital. In fact, even if you're making a product, I know that there's some machinery that you can actually rent. So we're not talking about huge capital. And of course, when the time comes and you really make good money, you can actually go and get a loan to fund that business. Maybe you want to now have a location to bake and all those good stuff, right? So you do not need huge capital to begin a business. Please, if you're just sitting down somewhere and still thinking, do I start? Do I not start? I don't have a lot of money in the bank. How do I, a lot of successful businesses, right? They started, I mean, in their homes. They started at their backyard. They just said, you know what, I'm going to start something. All right. So I would say that that is a myth. You don't need huge capital to begin a business, right? Right. So, but of course, you might say, oh, but I'm looking at I'm buying a lot of, I want to go into the Cadillac business. I'm buying a lot of Cadillacs to rent or limousines. Yeah, I get that, right? But I mean, in that case, that might be a different, I mean, I mean, that might be, I mean, something that you might maybe want to start by renting the one limousine and then you go from there. But I'm just saying that the myth is that you don't have to have a lot of money to begin a business. You do not have to have a lot of money to begin a business. All right. Okay. Now, the third myth is that you need an office space to start or grow your business. I mean, even if you've heard this before, COVID changed the dynamics. I mean, we're not happy with COVID and everything. I know COVID and what happened with so many people that lost their lives. But when you say you need an office space to start or grow your business, so many people started working from home. All right. So even if this was maybe one was contemplating at the time of the of before COVID, oh yeah, many people need offices. No, we can even before then, many people started their businesses from the house, from their home, right? From their basement, right? Many, right? You need an office space to start or grow your business. That is a myth, right? Many people, I know some businesses that they don't have an office space, but they are growing. They are growing. They are very the growth rate. I mean, they're doing so well, right? So, and I'm not saying that, there are some businesses that they do need an office space, right? I know that, depending on what you're doing, but when you use this statement and make it a general statement, I would say it's a no-no. It's a myth. No, you do not need an office space to start or grow your business, right? You do not. So that's a myth, right? It's generally is a myth. So this is not for everyone, it's a myth. All right. The fourth is that you can't succeed as a jack of all trades. Now, I want to step back here and tell you a lot of things, say a little bit about this, right? Now, when you hear jack of all trades, people say, oh, you want to do everything. But at the beginning, when you start a business, right? A lot of times I've seen people that that at the beginning, right? They actually, I mean, they actually do so much by themselves. There are a lot of, for example, they create their own website. There are so many platforms that make it so easy to create a website. So they try to do that, right? Some people they design their flyers, their websites that help you design your flyers. They are becoming, they design flyers. They do little here and there. Now, of course, you can't do everything, right? But I'm just saying that I you can't say that, okay, because you're just starting a business, you have to really be very narrow in what you can do for your business. Now, I'm not talking about your marketing now, your clients. I mean, within your office, right? I'm not saying that you should do everything, but there are some specific things. I mean, I've seen people that they take things to the mail by themselves. They are the ones that type up their emails. They're the ones that do their invoicing. This is just the beginning. So at the beginning, yes, you can do as many things as possible. I mean, it's a given. But as you begin to grow, you might want to allocate. Now, there's some specific things that I would not say that you should, grab on and do by yourself. For example, right? If you're not good in accounting or even, you know, knowing how to calculate your expenses and your revenue and things like that, you should use an accountant. And when I'm talking about an accountant, I'm not saying that you might not be able to afford an accountant to be on staff, like the accountant to be an accountant to be, a staff because you can't afford to pay. But you can tap into outsourcing or, outsourcing that service. Like we offer such services. You can, call or contact my office and work out with my assistant to get that situated. Right. So just wanted to make sure we understand that when we say that, oh, jack of all trades, you can't succeed. Well, relatively, as time goes on, of course, you have to give other people the work. But at the beginning, you don't need to hire somebody to take out the mail. You don't need to hire somebody to maybe send the email to some of your potential clients. You don't need to do that. I know someone that when this person started the business, right? This person went, the owner of the business went, and I think the person was actually, I think had a spreadsheet, was in the financial sector, financial advisor. This person, I think the person was knocking on 100 doors a day or something. I mean, I just said it was mind blowing what this person or this guy was doing. It was mind blowing because I said, how do you do that? But now very, very successful. So, I mean, he could have said, no, no, that's too much. I will not, but doing that daily, right, until he got his client base. All right. So yes, at the beginning you have to do a lot, but as time goes on, you leave that and don't pick up so much. All right. All right. So make sure you understand that so it's a myth. I would say is a myth at the beginning. Yes, you have to be. I mean, you might not be jack of every single trade, but as many trades as possible, right? That's really something that you should, consider, right? Because why do I say that? Remember, this platform is for SMEs, and usually at the beginning, when you get started, what happens? You have limited resources. You want your resources to expand, so you have limited resources. All right, all right. The fifth is make your price. When the fifth myth, right, is make your price very cheap. A lot of people say, oh yeah, if your price is, if you have a very low price, right, you will you get your customers. Really, I wouldn't say that, right? I would say that make your price competitive but not so cheap. What do I mean? Do your research before you put a price on your product, right? And then, I mean, you might even want to be a high-end product, right? Right? Do your research. Find out why somebody will pay more for your service or for your product as opposed to your competitor. Why would somebody want to pay more? So do your research. It's so important that you do your research, right? So that's a myth. Make if your product or your service has to be very cheap so you can get your customers, right? No, I would say very big no. That's a big myth, right? Set your prices, right? And let me tell you, if your product or your service is good, right? So people will keep coming back, right? So I'm not saying don't say cheap, nope, but let it be competitive, right? Check the pricing in what you're doing, check the environment, check your pricing. When I say environment, make sure you check to see so you know which one to choose from. All right. Or when it choose from, I mean, how do you price your product, right? And of course, sometimes you might struggle because you don't know how to do the analysis, of course. And another reason why you can reach out to a professional. We are very able to do that too. All right. Okay. The next one is that you need a marketing executive for branding. Okay. That is a big myth. And an SME, when you start, it's so important for you to really reach out. And when I say reach out, I wouldn't say, let me say, there are a lot of people that do outsource. So let me not say really reach out. I would say, you know, first of all, you might want to take advantage of the outsourcing. Marketing executive is very expensive to have. But in addition to that, I have a show that actually talks about all kinds of marketing. you know there are so many there I mean there's a lot of social media marketing that really can can take you out there. So many platforms, right? Now, if you're not an expert, yes, you might get someone that, outsource somebody that can do that for you. And I'm saying that you don't really need someone that is so professional in marketing. I would say I would go for experience as opposed to, so I mean, like high up there. Somebody that can, create things and put things out there for you. Because of course, before you get into marketing or product, you have to know your target market, right? If you're selling things for kids, right? For kids, of course, you're not going to market people that to people that don't have kids, right? You're not going to market to people that don't have kids. So of course, before you even talk about marketing, you have to know your target market and where you're focused on, right? And because I mean, you don't need a marketing executive to tell you that. Who is your target market? Very important. Of course, as I said, please watch my show on marketing and organic marketing, because remember, the goal of this platform is just to see, okay, what are the struggles with this SME, with SMEs generally, and how can you thrive with those and change those struggles to or change those struggles around so that you can thrive as opposed to just survive. Of course, for informative and educative purposes only. All right. So you just need to ensure that you are, that you know your target market, you know, marketing, you have, know your target market, and also, get people to work with you if you feel that, that you can't, use Facebook, or what do you call it, Snapchat, all those, um, there's so many, I just Facebook just came to my mind, but there are so many platforms out there, right? So many. Now TikTok, there's I mean, there are so many, so many there. So, but I wouldn't say you need a marketing executive, right? You can have someone that knows some stuff, but you can actually do it yourself if you know how to, put ads out there on Facebook. And I understand that is, I mean, I have someone, some, I will use my as an example. Yes, I actually do marketing. One of the things I do to market my product is do a lot of speaking engagements, right? And I get, clients that way. So, there are so many forms of marketing. So make sure that you also, look into those forms. But the myth is that you do not need a marketing executive for branding. All right. The next one is to make more money, the seventh myth. And of course, this list is not exhaustive. Please, it's not. I'm sure there are so many out there, but I just wanted to, highlight these 8 myths, right? The seventh, that to make more money, you have to make your product available to everyone. No, no, no. When I say product available to everyone, that means that in this case, that number 7 means that you have no niche. You have no, is it niche? You don't have no target market, right? You have no market and target market. Very important, right? So I know I mentioned it in the 6th point, but the 7th point, many people throw it out there, but the reason why a target market is so important, for example, if you're making a product available to every single, you're trying to please everybody. Now, you know that the needs of a certain group of target, or a certain group of people will be different from another group of people, right? Depending on the target market, right? It's very important for you to have a niche. What is your niche? Who are you looking at to sell your product or your service? Very important. And I just not too long ago, someone was just telling me that the don't think that your niche is so narrow. Don't think that is so narrow, because when a niche is narrow, you can really tailor it, change, things around for that, change things around for that um person, right? Change things around for that person, or for that group of people, right? Or your target market. So I would say your product you should have a niche. Is it niche or niche? Okay. And yeah, but you know what I'm talking about, right? What are you producing, right? What are you all about? Who's your target market, right? So it's very important that you look at this and ensure that that is the way to go, right? Okay. Make sure that you are getting um, um, you know, target, making sure you got your niche, make sure that this is your target market and pursue it that way. Because yeah, product available to everyone. I mean, that is really a myth, right? And availability, when I say available to everyone, I'm not saying that your product should not be on the shelf. No, 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 no. If you're having a hair product, your niche is people that have maybe I've seen people that have products that have for people that have very curly hair. Yeah, that's their niche. You might say, oh, that's so narrow, but I mean, people might just say, yeah, I just need this and imagine everybody with curly hair talking to everybody with curly hair and say, oh my goodness, this is really good. This is really good. Imagine how much sales that will make, right? Or maybe you're in the service industry and you're someone that, let's say you, for example, maybe you work on specific businesses, right? Specific business, or or you provide um consulting to high net worth individuals, or you just or maybe you are producing something for the holidays. You say, okay, this is this is for a specific, you're an event planner, but you just do event for maybe only weddings, right? You event plan, there are people that do all kinds of events, but people that I've actually, I had an event not too long ago, and I remember that I wanted somebody to cover the pictures, and the lady said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I only cover wedding pictures." Okay, all right, yeah, but that's what she said. I just cover only wedding pictures. I don't do any other event. I said, okay, that's her niche. That's what she does. So that's really, really, really important when it comes to, having, I mean, so of course, when I say having of course, our products are available to not everyone, but every person that is getting married. Okay. All right. Okay. So the eighth myth is that increasing revenue will certainly make your business succeed. No, no, and no. In fact, I remember that somebody mentioned this, that there was a time that this person was in business and he was making so much money but he didn't know what it meant to to look at inventory, look at this this I mean the expenses. He didn't understand how to do that. And even though he was making so much money, because he didn't understand how to apply that with expenses, what to do and how to manage that money, the business failed. And this is not me speaking really, because I know I'm telling everybody this that is listening. This is someone that had this experience, was doing very well with money coming in and was selling this product, but somebody might ask, but he was making that kind of money. Why didn't he get someone to help him check it out or help him to manage everything? That's a good question, right? But I don't know why. But the person was telling me this after the fact that the business had failed. All right. And that's why I said, yes, going back to the myth four, yes, jack of all trades, I understand that here and there, yes. But I would say that there's a point that you need help, right? So don't think that when you're making so much money, you make so much money, all of a sudden, you're going to succeed. We've heard of companies that even large companies, you'll be wondering, but they've filed for bankruptcy. How come? This is even, you'll be wondering, but it takes more than just making revenue, right? Now, I would say those people that had that problem, it could be that because they didn't plan well, right? The revenue sort of maybe, stopped, right? The projection, they didn't project well. Maybe it could be that, but I don't really, I have to do a case study and analysis, and that's not what this platform is for, right? This platform is just to give you information and, educative and information purposes only, right? So when you talk about increasing revenue and will make your business succeed, having great revenue is awesome. Having that great revenue is really great, but that increase in revenue is fantastic. But um, making your business succeed without other parameters being taken care of, I would say that's a no-no. All right. So those are the eight myths I have for you. Of course, not exhaustive. There could be more. There should be more. But I just felt that it's good for me to just, come out and say this because a lot of people are hearing so many, or hearing or let's say listening or reading and sometimes, especially when you're not and when you're thinking of jumping into the business or when you have this passion and you believe that you're going to do well if you start, but you're having all this conflicting information. I just said, let me just put it out there. Of course, as I said, it's very good for you to work with a professional. Sometimes it's just advice. You might just say, okay, I'm thinking of, or I'm already in there and I'm just thinking of, one or two things and I'm not having do I need more money or something like that? Like the eighth myth I just said, I just mentioned right now, this person was making money. So it's good to work with a professional, right? To understand that, okay, how do you thrive, right? It's not just existing, but just thriving, right? You don't want to just be in business just to exist. All right. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Now let's go to our questions. I believe that, and of course, hopefully, I've been able to share something that is beneficial to somebody out there. Of course, you know, always reach out if you have anything else to add or you have additional questions, please. I'm here for you all. All right. So now let me look at some of our questions. All right. Now, the first question is that, I mean, what is the difference between budgeting and financial, having a financial forecast? I believe I have to check if I did a show on budgeting. I'll have to check if I did not, I will go ahead and do that, right? Now, a budget, right, is like, is you're looking at your income, you're looking at your expenses, and you're just looking at how to plan, right? Budgeting means that, okay, you're planning. For example, you might say, okay, I want to spend maybe a couple of thousands or maybe 5,000 on utilities. I want to spend this, I want to spend that. So it's just like your goals, your project. Well, it's not a projection, but it's like you want your plan. Budget is just a plan on, okay, I want to spend this amount of money, or this is what I want to yeah, spend for over a period of, it could be, in fact, budgets can be a year, could be set for even quarterly. Some people have, yeah, budgets, monthly budgets, some people have quarterly budgets. So yes, that's really the difference. Is just like, is a plan where you look at, okay, this is what I want to spend on this particular area, maybe Q1, the first quarter, the second quarter, or the first month, or every month. This is what um I want to spend, right? The great thing about a budget, and again, I'll see if I have a show on that. If I don't, I will have that show soon. The great thing about budgeting is that you can actually see. I mean, if you project that, let's say monthly budget, you project that you're spending 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 on maybe marketing, or 20,000 marketing, and all of a sudden you're spending, you see that there's a 30,000, a 10,000 difference. I mean, you can find out why. Now, there's nothing wrong with having additional, maybe, expenses if you have targeted for marketing, maybe for the first month, 20,000, maybe month one, and you're having 30. It could be that you said, okay, there might be, you want to, add more, maybe you have a show coming up 3 months, 2 months, and you want to push it out there. It's not something that is a usual expense. So it just helps you plan, right? Because marketing, let's say you have something on, this is February, maybe you're looking at having something launch, or having a program in the month of May, and you said, okay, because of that, somebody brought an idea and said, okay, because of that, I'm going to push out there, I'm going to push out funds out there, so that I can let people know this is the program I'm having. All right. So there's nothing wrong, but it helps you to plan. It helps you to see what are your what's your plan? Have you met your goals on that? All right. Now, financial forecasting is a bit different. What it does is, like, should I say, I won't use guesswork. It's something like planning ahead based on some kind of projection. For example, let's say that you're looking at the projections for the next 3 years, for example, and you said, okay, this year I'm making 500,000, or maybe let's make it even 100,000. You're making 100,000 for you just started your first year 100, and you can say, okay, based on what I see, the market, this area, we're looking at making maybe um 3 times that amount because of these factors I'm seeing. Because maybe it happened that all of a sudden Q1, Q2, Q3, you're making maybe 10,000, 20,000. You started in, Q1, you made 10,000, 20,000, then you made another, maybe 10,000, then 20. Then all of a sudden in Q4, you're making 70 or 80,000. You can say, okay, based on the projection, because of what I saw on Q4, I can project that will make maybe twice as much as what we made because of what I'm seeing. And usually when you forecast forward, you forecast this forward. You say, okay, I'm projecting that because of certain factors, right? So that's really the difference, right? Forecast is really, really a projection, but based on certain factors, make based on certain drivers, something that you would see that as for that example I gave you. Oh yeah, this is what I'm saying because of, we saw that this is happening Q4. We'll know that Q1, and maybe it's because in Q4 there's something, maybe there's a new product you launch, and wow, it sold so quickly. So you know that in the next year, the following year, you're going to really go out and project that that product. And because of that, you see that financial forecasting moving things forward. All right. You can see that financial forecast, your forecasting, right? So that's one of the things that you can see, or of course, as I said, compared to budgeting and financial forecast, right? All right. And somebody might say, oh, but I've never had a budget, or I don't have a budget to plan, because usually it's what people have that they plan. I will cover that. I hope I have. I will again check if I have that, I'm sure, and then I'll mention it the next time. But it's very important for you to, if you don't have a budget, it's very important for you to have a budget for your business. It helps you tremendously. It actually even helps you if there's a fraud, you actually know that, yes, because that example I gave, 20,000, and then all of a sudden you see 30,000 in marketing. Of course, if there's, there could be, it helps you to explain that, okay, why is there $10,000 difference when we projected, or the budget is supposed to be 20,000? Why are we spending 30,000 or 40,000 or 50? Then you can find that maybe, as I said, there's a product coming out in May and you're, oh my goodness, right? But it could be that somebody is trying to, you know, take some money out of there, and you don't want that. So it helps you to check it. All right. Okay, so let's go to the next question. I'm looking, I'm looking at applying for business funding, and I had a lot of expenses last year, and they were unexpected. Would that impact my loan application? Okay, this is not a bank, right? But I'm not trying to be, sorry if I said that in a bad way, but I didn't mean it in a bad way. I'm just trying to say that your bank would determine eventually. But I want to, you mentioned that this is some unexpected expenses. Now, usually there's something called extraordinary expenses, expenses that let's say you had this business for 3, 4 years, and then maybe you had to spend a bulk amount of money to do something which is not ordinary in the, when we look at the trend, you know, that will not be taken, that should not be an issue, right? Because it's extraordinary. It's not something that is constant, right? Right. It's not something that was done continuously, so that should not. But of course, in a loan application, there are so many factors that the bank looks at. That's why I said, you know, I didn't want to, I'm not saying in a bad way, but I said this is not a bank, not as in a bad way, of course. But just to explain to you that usually the banks will look at, analyze, and see other factors. But if you're looking at, we were talking about extraordinary expenses, right? That is a bit different, because extraordinary or those are expenses. I would say they're extraordinary. I would say that they're extraordinary because they are not expenses that are regular, right? They are not expenses that are regular. And usually the bank backs that out, right? When it comes to analysis. And then, we have non-cash items like depreciation, right? Somebody might somebody might have some that might have a lot of equipments in their business, right? And because of that, right, they're not seeing a good profit. I mean, depreciation is not, it's not a cash item. So that depreciation is actually taken out when we're calculating, the cash flow in your, just calculating, cash flow analysis. But I'm not trying to get so technical. This is not just trying to get so technical, but going back to the question, of course, your bank will look at so many things to make sure that you qualify for that. So that's why don't worry about unexpected expenses that just occurred one time, right? It's just a one-time expense because of maybe something. Let's say if you're the kind that, let's say maybe you have an office building that you have, for example, and then that year you change your whole roof, right? Change everything, the roof. Then of course the roofing is not something you do every year. All right. You spend a lot of money to do some kind of things, and some that's an expense. An example, right? Or for another example is like maybe there's an unexpected lawsuit that it doesn't happen. It's not, I don't think any business is sued every single year, but you never know. But just generally, I'm just giving some general examples. So that's some of the expenses that are not ordinary, and as such, those are taken account for, like removed when banks are analyzing if you qualify for the loan. But of course, there are again other factors which you know I'm not seeing any papers, and I've not seen any papers. So, and of course, I'm not working for the bank, but I'm not saying that in a bad way. All right. So, okay. Okay. So the next question is, I'm thinking of buying into a franchise. Is this advisable? Now, okay. A franchise, I believe I actually spoke on this before. The advantages and disadvantages of buying into a franchise. Now, um, I'm not going to elaborate so much. I want you to go and watch the show. But let me just say something generally. I know a lot of people are just jumping into franchise. The reason why people are doing that is easier. Why is it easier? Because everything is set up for you, right? You already have a marketing platform. They've already, I mean, it's incorporated. The marketing platform is incorporated into your franchise fees. So really a great thing to that people look into. But I would say that when you're buying it in, if you're thinking of buying into a franchise, please really do your homework very well. Now, some franchise, I mean, it depends. I mean, some people just want a franchise that they will be more laid back. They don't want to do so much. But there's some franchise that you have that is very demanding. You have to look at what are your goals. Do you want something that you want to be involved? Or you want something that, oh, you want something on the side that you don't have to really be involved. That's one factor. Secondly, right, what is the franchise fee, right? If it's is it very expensive and you afford that, right? That's the third. What is the royalty? I believe royalty is a percentage of the that you give from your revenue. Now, I want you to really look into this because you might say, oh, but the royalty is like 10% of all my revenue, right? And one will say, no, we're okay with 5%. But you have to really look and do your analysis because if the franchise gives you $500,000 in revenue, for example, right? And they said, pay me 10% of that revenue, and that nets to 450,000. And that's minus all the other, of course, then other things will, I mean, when you have to deduct and all those things, right? That's 450,000, right? That's your revenue. But you have a franchise say, oh, don't worry. Um, we will just get 5%. You said, oh, you get so excited. But the one that gives you says 10%, they do heavy marketing. So the franchise that you are paying 10% for is the royalty of 10%. Every single person, I mean, it's like a household name because they are very good in their marketing. Everybody knows them. But on the flip side, this other franchise that you say, oh my goodness, it's just 5%. Now you're barely making 200,000. Barely. 5% of 200,000, right? What's that? 5% is 10,000, right? Of 200,000 is 10,000. All right. Now, if you're looking at that and say you're very, very excited because of that, when you've calculated 10,000, you're getting 190 as opposed to 450,000. Are you looking at that? So I would say, please run the numbers. Run the numbers. Don't just jump up and so this franchise is cheaper. It's so cheap. Maybe it's harder to run the franchise. So you have to look at your objectives and run the numbers. It's so important. I mean, a lot of people are buying into franchises, which is not bad, but really know which one you're getting into. What franchise are you buying into, right? What are your objectives? Before you even think of a franchise, right? Think of your objectives. That's number one. And then secondly, do the numbers, run the numbers, right? Find out which one would work for you, right? First of all, I will say, no, no, let me go back. First of all, know the franchise that works for you. That's number one, right? See what works for you. Second of all, see how, I mean, you want to really be involved, right? Is that what you really want? You want to be involved in the franchise or, is that going to be your full-time job? Thirdly, I would say run the numbers. It's very important for you to run the numbers. All right. Okay, I think our time is up. Always excited to be here, and it's really wonderful. I hope I've been able to help somebody today. And remember, if you want, you don't have a CPA working with you, right? Please reach out to my firm. Yes, that's the website there. If you go there, driniadesnia.com, you can actually follow, find how to get to my CPA platform, CPA firm platform, and then we can, go from there. All right. Have a great one. Nice, being here, and of course, remember, you know, for an SME to thrive, you have to be intentional. SME, small or medium-sized enterprise or small business, you have to be intentional about it. All right. Bye for now. See you next time.